Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms chats, where we've been going live to talk to families about things they need to know to make sure their kids are still getting a good education in spite of the pandemic and all the other things that have been happening this year. And we've been talking to school leaders and school network leaders that are having open enrollment because November, December, January is a really busy time for charter schools to be taking applications. And today we're talking to the leader of Jubilee Academies, which is a network that is based in San Antonio, but they have clusters of schools in cities and towns across South Texas. And our guest today is Dr. Kevin Phillips, and he's the superintendent of Jubilee Academies. And let's see, you've been there since 2019, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And Kevin I checked, he has a long resume, lots of experience as a school administrator, as a principal, and when you were a teacher, what grade levels, what subjects did you
I
teach?
did middle school. I actually taught middle school social studies, seventh and eighth grade.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I have an eighth grader, so I know that's a really special age.
Had
Yeah.
a lot of fun
Well,
with those guys.
yeah, yeah. And you are a military veteran as well, is that right?
That's correct. I spent 7 years in the U.S. Army.
That's wonderful. Thank you for your service. Okay, so I want to dive in. I have a whole bunch of questions about, what's new at Jubilee, and also kind of what the values are, and what makes up the core of Jubilee. So, as we were prepping for this call, we were talking about the determined destiny values, and you said it's a kind of a set of action items that guides. Well, I'll let you tell about it. So please tell us
Okay.
about
Okay.
at Jubilee Academies. What are the determined destiny values?
Well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Ms. Cotton, to join you this afternoon and spend some time with your network and your group. Really appreciate you inviting Jubilee Academies to be a part of it and get a chance to share a little bit about who we are. So our determined destiny values, those are our core values. So basically what we did was we took the word Jubilee, which is our name, and basically, we created an acronym for it. So each letter represents a value. The J is for joy. The U is for understanding. The B is for balance. The I is for integrity. L is for leadership. The first E is for empowerment. And the last E is for excellence, because that's what we're all about, excellence. And then what we do is we take those values and we really dig into what does it mean to have joy. And for us, we teach our kids and our staff that joy is about having that inner strength with an outward expression. And nobody can take that away from us when it's that inner strength. And then we talk about understanding and how understanding for us is about understanding others first. And we teach our kids that it's important to understand others and then understand yourself and then understand the situation. And what that'll help us do is have better, stronger relationships as we interact with one another. And then we talk about balance, and balance is about having physical and emotional balance so that we can live a life that's full of harmony and peace. And we dig into how do we have balance in our life? What are the things that we need to be able to do to maintain that balance in our life? And then with integrity, it's all about your character and teaching our kids and our adults that we have 9 attributes that go along with that. And I won't go through all 9 of those, but the first one is all about taking responsibility for my actions. And that's so important in today's society for kids to be able to understand that they have to take responsibility for their actions. And so that's the integrity. Then leadership, and of course, that's a big one where we really dig into teaching our kids how to be self-thinkers and self-starters and motivated to make an impact in the world around them by being leaders in their homes and in their school and in society. And then the first E, the empowerment. And this one's a little different for us because the way people think of empowerment as I'm going to empower somebody to do something. I'm going to give them the authority to do it. But we take a little bit of a different approach. And when we talk about empowerment, we talk about speaking life into somebody so that they are empowered to go and do and be whoever it is they decide to be. We want to give positive affirmations and lift each other up and empower each other by building up the confidence of someone else. And then the excellence piece and doing everything with excellence by using our creative imagination to problem solve and come up with better ways to be a productive citizen in society.
You know,
That's just a quick synopsis of those values.
yeah, I can see, like, as a memory device, having it key in with the letters of Jubilee. That's brilliant because then, you know, I mean, it's just something you can hold on to, and it puts a special significance into that word.
Yes, and our kids and our staff have done an excellent job this year at implementing the values, not only in around the school. You'll see student work, you'll hear kids talking about it, but teachers actually implementing it in their lesson plans and making it a part of our day-to-day life. And that's what we really want. We don't want it to be something that just kind of comes and goes. We want it to be a part of our day-to-day life. We want to internalize it so that it becomes part of who we are.
Yeah. Well, what I was, we were talking about this earlier. What I'm hoping is that you could give some stories, some examples of things happening on campus where these values are coming into play. So can you share some stories about the determined destiny values in action?
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that actually. So this week we had a couple of board meetings in our different regions. We have schools in the RGV, Rio Grande Valley area, San Antonio, Kingsville, and Austin area. And so we had some board meetings this week, and we had students being recognized for showing the values, living the values. And I remember a couple of students in our Kingsville area who were recognized this month for balance, for showing balance and having balance in their life. And so they were working really hard, and they were recognized because of their ability to work really hard and the effort that they were putting in. But they were also recognized because they were being a good friend to others, and showing others that things were going to be okay at school, and really encouraging this other person to help them get their work done. And so they were showing that balance. We were able to recognize a student for being able to do that.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. So it's been a while, but I remember visiting the Jubilee Lakeview campus in particular, and they have a beautiful gym and they have a beautiful auditorium. And I just remember thinking, and I know that's not unique. I mean, there's like good athletic facilities at multiple campuses, but it's part of like I think of balance in terms of right, like having strong academics, but also letting kids have physical activity and letting them get their energy out. And
Yes.
you're talking about balance in multiple ways, like maintaining emotional balance. That it's a really significant word.
Yes, yes, that's exactly right. We talk a lot about that, the social emotional awareness that we want kids to have. And in order to have a good balance, they have to have that social emotional awareness to realize when they're like, my stress level is rising. I got to do something to release that stress. That's one side of it. And the other side of it is like, you just can't always be about having fun all the time. And life does require time where you have to buckle down and get some work done. And that's a balancing act that kids and adults alike have to be able to manage and understand.
Yeah, yeah. It's learning to like read your own emotions and realize like, okay, I need to get more serious here, or I'm feeling too stressed. I'm gonna go outside and stretch, and then or I'm just gonna stand up and yeah. Um, that's what I do if I'm if I feel like I've had too many Zoom calls. It's like I just need to go look at the sun and stretch a little bit, and then get back in,
Definitely.
take some deep breaths. Yeah, and then I work a lot better. I don't snap at people.
Yeah.
Good scene. Yeah. Yeah. Well, can you talk more about sports and physical education at Jubilee? I was clicking around on the pictures on Facebook, and some of these pictures are from pre-COVID, but I know there's like competitive sports teams at a lot of campuses, especially for the big
Yes.
kids, and it's a big part of school culture.
Yes. We really pride ourselves on our sports, and We're really frustrated right now that we're not able to participate at a high level in our sports because of COVID. But down in the RGV, we have a campus that's a K-12 campus down there, and they participate in UIL sports at our Jubilee Brownsville campus. And we always have excellent basketball team, excellent volleyball team with our girls, and soccer and track. And it's a real emphasis on us. We spent several $1 million on building campuses that were designed for our sports. We have indoor turf on those campuses, and so for us, we're big on the sports, but we're also big on the mental aspect of the sport, and how students and student athletes have to have that mental strength to be able to be successful in their sport. And so we don't call our PE classes, we don't call them PE classes. We call them athletic conditioning classes, because not only do we condition students athletically with fast twitch and slow twitch and calisthenics and different types of movements that are different than PE, we also condition them mentally to be prepared to be successful in the sport. Because, there's a direct connection between sports and real life. You learn how to work on a team in a sport. Well, that's what life is all about, being able to collaborate and work with others. And sometimes there's some frustrations. Sometimes you're losing and you got to figure out, what do I need to do to win? Well, we want to teach our kids that, and our coaches. We have excellent coaches on our campuses that take the time with our students to ensure that they're developing physically, but also mentally. And one good piece that we've implemented this year that we really, really believe is going to be beneficial for our students is our Determined Destiny Value Turf Talk. And so this is where our coaches are discussing our Determined Destiny values with our students while they're on the turf with them. So it's a quick synopsis of, let's just take the example of the first one, of joy. And so they'll have a conversation with the kids around having that inner strength with an outward expression. So at the end of the game, you lost the game and you're upset and you're emotionally and physically drained. You still have to have enough joy on the inside of you, inner strength, to go and shake that other competitor's hand and look them in the eye and tell them good game. And that's about part of what we want to teach our kids, to be more than just, academics, and more than just athletics, but having a mental strength about them so that they can be successful in life.
Yeah, yeah. No, I strongly agree that the lessons that kids get from sports really carry them into life, and more than just right, just the academics and just the books and the desk and the lectures. That's essential, right? But it's not enough. It's not sufficient, because kids need those life lessons, right? You mentioned
That's right.
teamwork, and be able to, like, hold, even if they've lost, to hold on to enough joy to show good sportsmanship to their competitors, because it's part of being a good citizen. And like whoever you're competing against, you're going to go up against them again, right? You need to
That's
learn
right.
the right lessons from your defeats, right? Don't just get mad at the other team. Ask yourself, what can I do better? How can I train better, right? Go talk to
That's
coach.
exactly right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Those are those life lessons that at Jubilee, we want to teach our kids to be more than just book smart, but they got to be life smart as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's so important, because y'all are taking the long view about preparing students for, like, even beyond Jubilee. They'll have a set of skills that will help them succeed in life, and that's a versatile set of skills that work in a lot of different settings.
That's right. And you hear this term, and a lot of districts are starting to say this, but we can actually explain what it means for us. We say we're going to teach the whole child, and that's, you'll hear that from time to time from different people, but they can't really articulate what that means for them. For us, it's about character, leadership, and excellence. That's the whole child, and then that's where we go into our values, and all of our values are attached to one of those: character, leadership, or excellence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. So one thing I wanted to ask about, and it ties in with what you're talking about the whole child, and what you talked about balancing, like, students are getting strong academics, but they're also learning lessons through sports about, ways, things that build their leadership and build their character. So, for like the middle school, high school kids, like as they're thinking about what they want to do after graduation, what kind of careers they might want. So what kind of programs and pathways do you all have as far as, like, like CTE, like the career technical education, ways that students they can sort of picture themselves like, well, someday I want to do this career, and here are the programs that I have access to while I'm still in K through 12 education.
Yeah, and that I'm glad you brought that up because that is one of the areas that we have put an emphasis on over the past 2 years, and really focusing on how do we address students who may not really be interested in going to college. We still have to provide an excellent education for those students as well. And so over the past 2 years, what we've done is poured a lot of time and energy into building those programs at our various campuses. And so when I say programs, we're talking about programs like information technology. We're talking about hospitality and tourism, or the health and science. And so inside of the information technology, we're now offering our kids the opportunity to learn about web development, coding, and graphic arts and design. And they're able to obtain a certification by completing so many sequence of courses. At the end of that sequence of courses, they'll have an industry certification that allows them to go to work. And so, the IT world is one, hospitality and tourism, where we have culinary arts classes, and students are able to really dig into the culinary. And then we have some connections that will allow them to continue to pursue that culinary experience even beyond high school if that's what they wanted to do. We also have a focus on the health and science, where we have a nursing and science program where students can take a coherent sequence of courses there and be ready to go to work with the CNA, or continue their education in the health field and begin to pursue that RN after high school. We felt like it was really important for us to put the emphasis in these particular areas, and there's a few more as well. Law enforcement, graphic design, arts and AV, and communications. And so, we've poured a lot of energy and time into building these programs for our students, because we realize that as we grow as an organization, we're going to have kids that want to explore something besides just a 4-year university. And then the flip side of that is a lot of our programs will be the foundational pieces that will springboard kids into that university life. And a lot of kids go to college and they're not real sure what they want to do the first 2 years. What we believe is if we get them tapped into these programs, then that'll start to direct their path, and parents won't waste money in school with kids trying to figure out what do they want to be when they grow up. And we help them in that process by offering them these opportunities.
Yeah. No, you're answering a lot of the questions. We had a discussion thread in the Facebook group. Oh, I'm gonna pop up. So anybody who's watching the video, if you're not already a member of the Charter Moms discussion group, I invite you to join. We had a really interesting discussion. I asked the group, do you have your heart set on your child going to college for a 4-year degree, or are you open to other possibilities, like if they join the military or take a gap year or start a business or go to a 2-year college? And I was surprised, like probably at least half said I'm open-minded as long as they have a plan. And what you're talking about is these courses, it's part of high school, it's free, and they can
Yes.
try these things out, and if they stick with a pathway, they get a certification, and they're on their way, right? And some of these certifications give them access to good paying jobs right out of high school, which
That's exactly right.
yeah, and I mean, I think there's this sense of like that you have to have a 4-year degree to access a better life. That's not necessarily true. And there were some comments on the thread where folks said, "Look, I have all these student loans and I don't even work in the field that my degree is in," and people just feel frustrated. And and it's that feeling of being lost, not knowing your path. But Jubilee is letting kids try things, letting them picture themselves as what they might want to be when they grow up, gets a hands-on experience with it, working with community partners. And I mean, what a great way to set them up. And which among whether they go straight into the workforce or if they go to college, but with a plan so that they make the most of their time there and don't waste money changing majors too many times,
Right.
then
That's right.
yeah, yeah,
Well, and I want to mention also that we have a robust dual credit program as well. Like we have some partnerships with colleges there in San Antonio, down in the RGV, and in Austin that allow our students to start taking college courses while they're in high school. So many of our students can graduate high school with 45 to 60 hours of college already under their belt. Some students have graduated with associate's degrees because they found that path. And one of the biggest ones that we really are proud of is our educational pathway, where we have students who are interested in becoming teachers and they start to pursue the courses that will take them towards an education degree, the principles of education and training, which is what we have at Jubilee San Antonio and Jubilee Kingsville. And so in these opportunities, whether it's the CTE program or the dual credit, and actually you could do both, the dual credit, while you're earning high school credit, you're also earning college credit, and that's Jubilee paying for that. Parents aren't paying for that, which is huge. If your kid could leave with 30, 45, 60 hours that you didn't have to pay for. I think that's our way of showing our commitment to our kids and to our families that if you want your kid to be successful and we get them on the right path, then we're willing to foot the bill for that so that we can put out better students who know what they want to be when they become young adults.
yeah. No, that's a wonderful program, and I'm impressed by the variety of programs that y'all are offering in CTE and the dual credit program because it's you're not limiting kids' options. You're opening doors for them and helping speed up that process towards if a 4-year degree is their goal, right, and they can earn the credit through the dual credit program and then transfer that towards their 4-year degree. They could graduate that much more quickly. They could double major. It could maybe take a lower course load, which might help their GPA. I mean, there's lots of ways that it pays dividends for students in the future.
Lots of opportunity there, and we've done our homework. So the colleges that we partner with, we know that those courses will transfer to most 4-year universities in the state of Texas, and several 4-year universities outside of the state of Texas.
That's a thing that I mean because I work in education now and I've been blogging for a while. I know how serious a problem that is. I think if I weren't working in education, I wouldn't know just what a trap that is. But sometimes students do get they're counting on something and then they find out that it's coded the wrong way and it doesn't transfer. So I'm really glad that y'all put the time and energy to um, make it a smoother path for students so that they can get the most benefit out of those credits. If they're putting in the effort.
That's right. That's right. We want to make sure that they reap the benefit of that effort.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, but that's the those determined destiny values. That's putting that into action, and it's not just the students, but it's the leaders and the teachers. Also trying to holding themselves, to that standard.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Um,
Excellence. We're shooting for that excellence.
Yeah, 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 being detail oriented about those things. Well, I wanted to ask, you mentioned about that, like it's hard for sports to function at the same level, during the pandemic that y'all were at, before. But I'm looking forward to someday, things opening up again and y'all being able to, put out lots of competitive teams. But I'm wondering if you could comment about, because of the pandemic, how have y'all adapted? I assume there are some students on campus or some students doing distance learning, and I saw on the website there's a set of safety protocols that folks can look up. But can you comment about sort of pandemic response at Jubilee?
Yes, yes. Like many districts, we put in several hours, many hours, just trying to figure out, like, how do we allow students and families to continue to enjoy an educational experience in a safe way, that and they have a level of comfort of us operating and them participating in that experience in a safe way. And so, like many, we offer two forms. We offer the remote learning option as well as the face-to-face learning option. And roughly about 60% of our families chose to go the remote learning option, and that's perfectly fine. We have accelerated our vision of becoming a one-to-one district where every student has their own device. We accelerated that once the pandemic hit, like many districts, and we were really proud to say that we were able to put a device in every kid's hands early on. And we were already in the process before the pandemic hit of really getting our teachers up to speed on teaching in Google Classroom. And so that model, we accelerated that in March, getting our teachers on board with that and getting them acclimated and trained up on the best way to deliver instructions in a remote learning environment when we were completely shut down. So then when we came back, well, we spent all summer working on safety plans and procedures on how things will work and that sort of thing. And then when we came back and implemented those plans, students were able to pick up devices with no problem. And many more devices were coming in. We were ensuring that it was appropriate. So, we had tablets for pre-K to second grade, and then Chromebooks for third grade on up, and ensuring that students knew how to access all of their programs and the Google Classrooms with their logins, and really taking it slow to ensure that we could speed up later once we took care of the mechanics of these things. And then we launch into this process of, okay, some families chose remote, some families chose face to face, and now teachers have the challenge of teaching both remote and face to face students at the same time. We explored the option of trying to allow some teachers to be completely remote teachers and some teachers to be completely face to face teachers. And we just didn't have the manpower to be able to pull that off. It would require double the teaching load to be able to do that in some areas. And so many of our teachers have begun to do that amongst themselves, a little bit of determining who's the remote teacher for math and who's the remote teacher for reading and who's the science teacher, while teaching face to face with those kids that are in the classroom with them. As from a safety aspect, we trust and listen to our health officials. We have two registered nurses on staff, and then we have health assistants throughout the district, and we have connections with the San Antonio Health Department. We're constantly listening to the health department in each one of our regions and taking their guidance on what we should be doing to implement best practice. Within our plan, what we instituted was parents submitting weekly sheets that told us how their kids were doing. And there's like 5 or 6 questions on that questionnaire. It's a weekly health screening tool is what it is. And it's a Google Doc, and they go in and they put their child's information in there and they submit it, and the campus gets that information weekly. And then once the child gets to campus, of course, we're requiring masks, and we give the option of shields, and we are social distancing within the classroom cafeteria. Most campuses are eating lunch in the classroom, just for safety reasons to make that work. Currently, we're in the red phase in all of our regions, which much of Texas is right now. And so we're definitely eating lunch in the classroom, wiping things down several times a day. We spent, I don't even know how much money on personal protective equipment, from disinfectant, sprays and wipes, and sanitizer, and soap, and just making sure. And the state and TEA did a great job at making sure that we had more than enough supplies. And so we felt that, while students are back on campus, while staff is back on campus, we have the supplies we need to keep them safe. And it's just a matter of the adults and the kids adhering to the practices that we put in place. We took that slow the first couple of weeks as well, just talking to everybody, training everybody, ensuring that everyone was familiar with the practices that we were putting in place. We shut down water fountains and gave kids water bottles. We instituted a different type of water fountain that allowed kids to bring water bottles, and they would fill those water bottles up. It's a non-touch process. So we implemented a lot of things that were different, like many schools did. And I'm proud to say that we have been on the front side of a lot of initiatives that TA ends up pushing out because we were very proactive, and that's our mindset. Let's be proactive about everything we are doing versus reactive. Um, our numbers in terms of infection and cases on campuses have been minimal. And we think that's just because our staff and our students have been really mindful about their practices on campus. And parents have been really helpful in notifying us and letting us know when a kid's not feeling well and keeping their kid home. So we're really appreciative of those efforts.
Yeah.
That was a long-winded answer to your question there.
It's important though, because I feel like this is a stressful time, and I get the sense, like I mentioned, the Facebook group, there's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, like when the region got into red again in the education setting, it caused stress. And but there's a benefits to having kids in class and able to interact with their teachers. And so parents want to know, like, is it safe? What are you doing to make it safe? And it sounds like you guys have really thought it through carefully about what the measures are to keep everyone safe. And and then it takes this teamwork aspect of everybody, every family, every student, um, you know, making good choices, and keeping themselves safe, and it keeps the community safe. And then
That's
when
right.
teachers are following the procedures and wearing their PPE, and when the staff are cleaning everything, it all works together. It takes multiple layers to make an effective system, but if all those layers are working, it really is possible to keep a school open.
Yeah, yeah, and we had some really close touch points with this virus within our organization, with some of our employees, and so that really changed our mindset, or drove our mindset. I shouldn't say changed our mindset, but drove our mindset to really be focused on the safety aspect and put that first. The academics will come. We have to keep kids safe. We have to keep staff safe first, and then let the academics come gradually. We know kids need to be learning, but we know this is a pivot for everyone. Everyone's having to shift and adjust the way they do things. And we adopted the asynchronous plan that allowed for some leeway in the times when kids would log in and participate with their teacher, and the methods of communication that all of that would take place. We had to be flexible with all of that so that it worked for families as well as for our staff. And I don't know if you have heard yet, but the news just came out today that the state is not implementing the accountability system for this year
Yeah.
for STAR testing. We will still take a STAR test. We just won't receive an accountability rating, which is fine. We need the data, we need the information, we need to know where the learning gaps are with our students and where we need to focus our energies academically. But we didn't need the stress and the pressure of, oh, your campus is going to be rated this, and knowing that we haven't seen our kids face to face, many of our kids face to face for a learning experience. So really appreciative that the commissioner understood districts and schools positions, and was able to at least relieve that little bit of stress from us. Now, we know the business of schools is education. And so, in the end, we've got to figure out how to do education at a high level for our students because we have seniors this year, and those seniors are going to walk across the stage and they're going to graduate into the next chapter of their life, and we want them to be prepared for that, whatever that is. We have to make sure that they're prepared for that. And the same for juniors that are rolling up to be seniors next year. We have to ensure that we're doing at every level what the kids need us to be doing for them so that they can be successful at that next level.
I can tell your commitment, to excellence comes through in how you talk about the students. And I'm that's why I think these videos are really important because it's more than just the blog post that's linked in the description. Like that has you know sort of nuts and bolts information, like what addresses, like what grade levels the campuses serve. But real leadership is what you're talking about, which is caring about the outcomes for the students because it impacts their lives, and that's what education is really about.
That's exactly right. And that's the only reason we exist. If we're not going to do what's best for kids, then we should lock the doors and find something else to do. But we all chose this profession for a reason, and it's my job to ensure that the reason we chose this profession is the reason that we're still here, and it's the reason that we make decisions, whether they are favorable for adults or not. We have to make decisions that are in the best interest of students. Is this
Yeah.
good for our kids? And that's going to be our decision point for everything that we do. Is this good for kids?
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, you mentioned the TA's announcement that they are planning to administer a STAR test, but they're not planning to rate schools A through F or have the kind of accountability consequences. And I'm grateful for that because I want to see the STAR report card for my kids. I want to know where the gaps are. I want
Right.
and then we can do something about it. And that's
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 right.
the right way to look at it. Is like this is a tool. We need the data, and we can use it to help students.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to be sure to ask, are there ways in which the Jubilee schools, particularly the ones in San Antonio, are kind of changing or growing? Are there? I don't think y'all are adding any like grade levels or not adding any new campuses, but maybe there's like new programs coming to campuses.
Well, we actually have had some executive level conversations around expanding in the San Antonio area. I won't let the cat out of the bag just yet because we haven't been approved by TEA to go to those new locations just yet. But I can tell you that there have been some conversations around that, and we're really excited about the opportunities there. And then we've been talking with some partners about how we can try to make that happen. In terms of the campuses that we currently have, in reference to program growth and offerings for students, I think like many schools, we've been kind of just managing what we have right now. And then internally, what we need to be able to do is be excellent where we are right now, and offer students the opportunity to be great where they are right now. So, like at our Lakeview campus, we have law enforcement there, we have culinary there, we have those programs up and running. And what we need to be able to do is make those programs great programs for kids that kids say, "Oh, I want to be a part of that." That piques my interest. And so we have to fine tune those things. We have to make sure that our dual credit offerings at that campus meets the needs of kids, and we have cohorts of kids participating in that, and we keep that going with the consistency that it needs to be there so that kids benefit from that. At our JSA, our Jubilee San Antonio campus, this is one thing that we're really excited about. We have one of our principals that's participating in Trinity University cohort for leaders, and it's a school redesign program. And so what he's working on is a redesign of some of the offerings there at that school. And what we've been talking about is allowing the programs that we offer at that school to create entrepreneurs, businessmen and women, and attorneys. And so we'll focus as he's working through this program, we'll begin to focus our offerings around those things, business focused courses, and create our dual credit partnerships that are centered around that. Creating criminal justice opportunities so that kids who may want to go into other forms of law enforcement, like becoming an attorney, we begin to allow them to walk down that pathway at that particular campus, focused on that. And another one of our principals at Jubilee Highland Hills is working on, in the same program with Trinity, and is working on a campus redesign. And we're really at the surface level of this conversation, but we're talking about that campus becoming an environmental science campus, to where they really dig into taking care of their environment, and the curriculum that's presented to them and the opportunities that's presented to the students there at that campus allows them to learn how to work with the soil and grow different things in a greenhouse, and learn how to dig water wells and create water opportunities in communities that may struggle with getting clean water, and just anything that might be environmentally related, taking care of the insects and trees and those sorts of things. Now, like I said, we're at the surface level of those conversations, but we have the land there, and we'd like to create those outdoor spaces that allow our students to take the classroom learning outside and let them apply it to the real world, and begin to see how science, the environment, and academics, they really can all go together.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think that it speaks well of your school leaders that they're interested in continuing to develop themselves through the continuing education, and that they're interested in, kind of invigorating their campus with new ideas, by participating in the school redesign program. And it sounds like these are more longer term projects. They might not impact students in applying for the next school year, but it shows the growth, the innovation, the excellence is ongoing.
That's it, exactly right. And those two programs, we're going to push really hard this spring to see if we can't get the ground level of both of those programs up and running, so that kids can begin to take courses that are
Wow.
geared towards those areas.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have excellent principals throughout our entire district. I mean, every single one of our campuses, we were really strategic about ensuring that our campus leaders, they first have a heart for kids, and then they have actionary mindset. They have to be about action. We don't want people to be complacent. We want people that are active leaders that are looking for opportunities to lead in a mighty way and impact kids in a great way.
Yeah, that's what it takes. It's a tough job, especially this year. Yeah, but
That's
if they have a
exactly
heart for
right.
kids, yeah, they'll put in the effort that it takes. Yeah. Wow. Okay, well, I want to make sure that before we close out the video, that we give people, hopefully they've been listening to this video and picking up on all like the exciting programs that you offer, the richness, that they heard about, the Jubilee determined destiny values, and all, JUB, all the letters, and what they all stand for. I hope that this gets makes families curious about it. Maybe they want to learn more about Jubilee. They might want to go ahead and enroll their kids. So I'm going to pop up um, the website, and I was wondering if you could tell families like what they can do to apply, and what they can do if they're still on the fence but they want to learn more.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so our website is right there, and if you go to our website, you'll see an Enroll Now button. And if your mind is made up, you say, "I definitely want to create a new experience for my kid. I like what I've heard so far, and I'm ready to take that leap with Jubilee." Then you click on that Enroll Now and complete that process, and someone from the campus that you choose will reach out to you to finalize that enrollment process. If you're still on the fence and you're like, I would like to learn more, I like what I'm hearing so far, but I'd like to learn a little bit more, then we definitely want to invite you out to take a tour of the campus. Right now, we're doing virtual tours on campus of the campus. So if you put a call in or send an email to the campus and let them know that you're interested, then the principal or assistant principal will be happy to sit down with you. We had all of our principals do videos for virtual tours. And so they all have that virtual tour ready to go, and they'll sit down with you and have a conversation with you and tell you about their campus and the great things that they have going on those campuses. Right now, we are in a re-enrollment period, so we are definitely willing and wanting to talk with families who feel like Jubilee could be the right experience for them. And having a conversation, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you like what you've heard and there's some interest there, just shoot us an email or pick up the phone and call us, and let's talk a little bit more. No harm, no foul with that. But you might hear something that makes you say, no, that's exactly where I want my kid to be. We want our families involved. We want our parents involved, but we also want our kids involved. We don't want kids to just come to school and do school. We're going to create opportunities for them to get involved, flourish, and let their inner talents and skills come out as they learn our DDV values, as they learn about who they are as a person and what they're good at and what they're strong at. And we're going to help them develop that and find that. And we're going to put them in a position to where they can thrive and be successful and excel at Jubilee.
Well, that's really exciting. I'm so happy to learn more. I've been to the Jubilee Lakeview campus. I went to one of the other campuses, but it got rebuilt better. So I'm looking forward to, after the pandemic, visiting some more campuses, see the athletic facilities, see some classrooms, maybe talk to some of the kids who are on these career pathways. But it sounds like there are great things happening, and I'm really proud to be able to share about this with the San Antonio Charter Moms community. And maybe this is an option they hadn't thought of before, but now they know more about it, and they can go to the website. Like you said, call the campus. The phone numbers for all the campuses are in the blog post, and that's linked in the description of the video. So, and of course, it's all on the campus websites. So,
yes,
yeah, it's really easy.
I just want to thank you again, Ms. Cotton, for this opportunity to share a little bit more about Jubilee Academies. We are one of those districts that is definitely on the rise, and you recognizing that and taking the time to give us a little airtime with the work that you've been doing. We really appreciate that, and can't thank you enough for deciding to spend some time with us and learn a little bit more about Jubilee.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you, and I look forward to more conversations and getting to meet face to face someday.
Yes, definitely. And for anybody that may just want to reach out to me personally, my district email is just kevin.phillips@jubileeacademic.org. And so if you just you need somebody to email quickly, you're not getting a response somewhere, or you don't know where to find somebody else's email, you want to shoot me an email, I'll get you to the right person.
Well, that is true leadership there. Taking care of your flock.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dr. Phillips. Thank you for being on Charter Moms Chats.
Thank you. Have a great holiday season and be safe.
Thank you. You too. Okay, bye.